Today we will be talking about opposites and absolute value. Okay, opposites are whole numbers and their negative counterpart. Okay, so we're talking +5 and -5. Those are opposites. Okay, 8, -8, 72, -72. Okay, so the negative is the opposite of the positive, and the positive value is the opposite of the negative. Okay, so the opposite of -5 would be 5. The opposite of +8 would be -8. Okay, the opposite of -10 would be +10. Okay, the opposite of +21 is -21. Okay, now absolute value is the distance from zero, how far away something is from zero. Okay, now distance can only ever be positive. Okay, so um, 5 is 5 away from 0 on your number line. Well, -5 is also 5 away from 0. So +5 and -5 have the same absolute value, okay? And that is going to be a +5, okay? 8 and -8 have the same absolute value, and the absolute value is 8. Okay, so opposites have the same absolute value. Okay, so let's take a look at another way that this might make sense. A monster truck drives off a ramp that is 12 feet above the track. Okay, so the ramp is 12 feet above the track. Okay, that which is plus 12, right? The lowest ditch of the track is as deep as the ramp is high. Okay, so it goes in the opposite direction, so down, the same amount that the track goes above, which would mean it goes down 12, right? But what integer represents the location at the bottom of the ditch? That would be -12. Okay, but how does that compare to the height above? They are both 12 feet from the track. So they are both the same distance from the track. Okay. And this +12 here is the absolute value because we're talking about the distance that they are from something. And that track happens to be that 0. Okay. The top of the mangrove tree is 8 feet above sea level, so +8. The roots of the tree grow as deep below sea level as the tree is tall. So again, what integer represents the location of the bottom of the tree roots? Well, it would be at -8 feet, okay, or 8 feet below sea level, okay? How does this compare to the height above? Again, they are the same distance from sea level, okay? And that would be 8 feet from sea level, okay? And that +8 feet that they are from sea level is the absolute value that I'm talking about, okay? Now here's a couple problems that are talking about opposites again. So the negative represents like the opposite of 20. Okay, so you can read a negative as the opposite. So we have a negative times a negative, or the opposite of -20 is going to be +20. Okay, and then if we have the opposite of the opposite of the opposite, so we have -11, we take the opposite of that, which is going to be +11, and then we're taking the opposite of that, which is -11. Okay, and then again, the opposite of -8 is going to be +8. Okay, and so on and so forth. I'll let you try the rest of those. Okay. One more example here. A scuba diver began at sea level and descended until reaching a small reef. Her location can be represented as -45 feet. Okay, how many feet did the scuba diver travel. Okay, so her location is 25 or negative 45 feet, but she traveled 45 feet down, right? The distance or the direction she traveled was down, right? But she traveled a total of 45 feet. Okay. So again, this is talking about absolute value. Okay. During a blizzard, the temperature in Zamir's town was negative 23. After the snowstorm passed, the temperature was 0. How many degrees did the temperature change? Okay, so it went from negative 23 all the way to 0, so it changed 23 degrees and it increased 23 degrees. All right. Or it if it was at positive 20 and went down to 0, it still would have changed 23 degrees. Okay, so again, that's a positive value because we're talking about how much change happened. Okay, or how far you traveled, the distance. Those are positive values. Okay.